Hey folks, recently somebody commented on my Texas Ranger Museum video and said that his cousin, Samuel Walker, helped develop the Walker Colt with Samuel Colt back in 1846. So I decided to come down here to the Texas Ranger Museum again and see if we could find a little bit more details about Samuel Walker. Let's go exploring. Hello, welcome to the Exploring Texas History Studios. I'm Becky. Today we're going to explore the life of Samuel Hamilton Walker and his contributions to the Texas Rangers and Texas history. But before I begin, I want to thank @TexasTough1836 for suggesting I do a video on Mr. Walker. Samuel Hamilton Walker was born at Toaping Castle, Prince George County, Maryland on February 24th, 1817. He was the fifth of 7 children of Nathan and Elizabeth Walker. In May 1836, he enlisted in the Washington City Volunteers and for the Creek Indian Campaign in Alabama, also known as the Second Creek War. He was stationed in Florida after his enlistment ended in 1837, and he worked as a scout there until 1841. He traveled to Galveston in January 1842, where he served in Captain Jesse Billingsley's company during General Adrian Wool's invasion on San Antonio and Gonzales. He then enlisted on the Somerville expedition and took part in the actions around Laredo and Guerrero. While serving in William S. Fisher's Meir expedition, a group of Texans entered the Mexican settlement of Meir to retrieve supplies they had purchased the day before that had not been delivered. The Texans engaged in a fight with the waiting Mexican army, which outnumbered them. The Texans still ended up having to surrender and were escorted to Mexico City as prisoners. On February 11, 1843, several successfully escaped at Salado, Mexico. For 7 days, Walker and the other Texans headed toward the Rio Grande, but failed to find a clear route through the mountains during the dry season. After extreme suffering, they again surrendered to Mexican troops sent in pursuit. In the end, only 3 members of the expedition successfully made it back to Texas. 176 recaptured Texans were then returned to Salado. General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna ordered that those who had fled be executed, but Governor Francisco Mejia of the state of Coahuila refused to obey the order, and the foreign ministers in Mexico were able to get the decree modified. The government ordered that every 10th man be executed. The men were forced to pull one of 176 beans from a jar. White beans meant the man was safe, but those who pulled one of the 17 black beans was selected for execution. Following the drawing, they were blindfolded and shot. The bodies were returned to Texas and were buried on Monument Hill in LaGrange in Fayette County. This was called the Black Bean Episode. During the months of June, July, and August of 1843, the remaining Texans did road work near Mexico City. In September, they were transferred to the Perote prison. A few of the men escaped while stationed in the vicinity of Mexico City. Others tunneled out of Perote and succeeded in reaching home. A few of the wounded who had been left at Meir recovered, bribed the guard, and effected their escape. Many of the men died in captivity from wounds, disease, and starvation. From time to time, a few of the prisoners were released at the request of certain officials in the United States, and others at the request of foreign governments. The last of the Meir men were released by Santa Anna on September 16, 1844. Walker joined John Coffee Hayes' company of Texas Rangers. Hayes left his headquarters in San Antonio on or about June 1st, 1844, with 15 men in search of a band of Indians that had been raiding the area around present-day Sisterdale in Kendall County. On June 8th, the Rangers arrived within 5 miles of the Guadalupe River on the Pinto Trail and began to set up a noon camp along a waterway that Hayes called Walker Creek. As some of the men worked to knock down a bee tree, a guard posted near the rear, Alexander Coleman, discovered about 10 Indians following the Rangers' trail. The Rangers quickly saddled and mounted and backtracked along a trail that ran through timber along the creek. Hayes decided that the ploy was an attempt to draw the Rangers into an ambush, so he made no effort to confront his pursuers. Realizing that their strategy to lure the Rangers in an ambush had failed, the Indians then displayed their whole force in line, some 75 in number. Using Patterson Colts purchased in 1843, the pursuit lasted about 3 miles. Some of the Rangers halted, reloading their arms. During this running battle, the Rangers exhausted nearly all of their shots. Hayes then ordered Robert Gillespie, who still had ammunition in his rifle, to shoot the chief. At the loss of their leader, the Indians scattered in every direction. Hayes dispatched Joshua Threadgill back to San Antonio for help. Benjamin McCullough then sent a 12-man relief column to aid Hayes on the morning of June 9th. During the engagement, the Rangers, using new Colt revolvers, successfully defeated about 80 Comanches. Hayes stated that the total number of Mexicans, Comanche, and Waco Indians killed was 23, while 30 were wounded. Ranger losses amounted to 1 killed, Peter Fohr, a German, who was shot in the head. 4 other Rangers were wounded, including Samuel Walker and Robert Gillespie, both thrust in the body with lances, but they survived. The Houston Morning Star described the Walker Creek fight, also known as the Battle of Pinto Trail Crossing, or the Battle of Christus Creek, or the Battle of Sisters Creek, as unparalleled in the history of this country for the gallantry displayed on both sides, its close and deadly struggle, and the triumphant success of the gallant partisan captain of the West. This fight marked the first time that an entire company of Texas Rangers used Colt revolvers in combat. In his report, Hayes commented, "I cannot recommend these arms too highly." When General Zachary Taylor requested volunteers to act as scouts and spies for his regular army, Walker enlisted as a private and was mustered into federal service in September of 1845. In April 1846, he formed his own company for duty under Taylor. On April 28, Walker was ambushed with his company en route to join Taylor at Port Isabel. He reached Taylor's camp on April 29. His reports caused Taylor to move his encampment. Walker performed exemplary duty as a scout and a courier on numerous other occasions. He was presented with a horse by the grateful citizens of New Orleans in the spring of 1846 for his numerous exploits with Taylor's army. In late 1846, Walker, then a captain in the U.S. Mounted Rifles, began corresponding with Samuel Colt about developing a new weapon to arm his company for the Mexican War. Walker visited Samuel Colt. Colt credited Walker with proposed improvements, including a stationary trigger and guard to the existing revolver. The collaboration led to the first revolver developed for the U.S. Army. The new 6-shooter was named the Walker Colt. The model 1847 Walker Colt was the first successful handgun manufactured by Colt. In gratitude to Walker and the Rangers, Colt had an engraver, Waterman Ormsby, design a roller engraving and printing around the cylinder of the Walker and Dragoon model Colts depicting the Battle of Walker's Creek. After arriving with his new company at Veracruz, Mexico, Walker, clearly embittered by the events at Salado just 3 years prior, was detailed on May 27, 1847, to the 1st Pennsylvania Volunteers stationed at Castle San Carlos de Perote to counter Mexican guerrilla activities between Perote and Jalapa. On October 5, 1847, Walker left Perote with General Joseph Lane to escort a supply train to Mexico City. With a sizable enemy force of Mexican guerrillas at Huamantla, a town east of Mexico City, Lane ordered an attack. With Walker's mounted rifles in the lead, the assault force reached Huamantla on October 9th. During the fight that followed, Walker was either shot in the back or killed by a man on foot carrying a lance, as depicted in this drawing. Reportedly, his last words were,
"Boys, forward and don't flinch a foot. I know I'm dying, but don't give way."
Following his death, his unit took revenge on the community of Huamantla. Walker was buried at Hacienda Tamaris. In 1848, his remains were moved to San Antonio. On April 21, 1856, as part of a Battle of San Jacinto celebration, he was reburied at the Oddfellows Cemetery in San Antonio. The Colt revolvers are known to have been involved in the Council House fight at San Antonio, as well as the Texan Santa Fe and Meir expeditions. The Texas Rangers used the Colt revolver as a weapon, ideally suited for mounted combat. Colt himself came to call the Patterson holster model revolver the Texas Arm, and present-day collectors generally refer to it as the Texas Model or Texas Patterson. The Walker Colt was declared the official handgun of the state of Texas by the Texas Legislature in 2021. As always, I have included links to the websites where I conducted my research in the description below. Please feel free to explore more details about the Walker family at Toaping Castle, the battles mentioned here, as well as information about the Colt Company. If you are in Central Texas or visiting the Waco area, please make sure you take time to stop by and see the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame and Museum. It's located off I-35 near the Baylor University campus, right on the mighty Brazos River. Please share your thoughts about Samuel Walker, the Colt revolver, Texas history in the comments section below. Also, please consider giving this video a like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you for joining me here today. Thank you for watching.